Otis Evagaro, the Democratic nominee for House District 135. I love Progress Texas because it's the spoken voice for progress that we're trying to make here in Texas, and it has a lot of fantastic candidates on as well too, and people in the movement that's doing the work. Go Progress Texas, go, and let's turn Texas blue.
It's Friday, March 27th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier here at Progress Texas. We have built a statewide audience. We reach millions of Texans monthly, and that's thanks to folks like you who invest in independent progressive media by Texans for Texans. Huge thanks to Bill Holston. Hello, Bill. Roxanne Boyd and Betty Ferguson. Thanks to all three of you for your ongoing sustaining support. And holy cow, at the map on the No Kings website, Chantel Lee at Time says organizers expect this weekend's No Kings rallies to set a new all-time record as the largest domestic political protest in U.S. history, as at least 3,000 No Kings demonstrations are set to be held nationwide. This third major wave of action follows protests back in June and October that drew millions of participants and comes as American political instability has only continued to escalate and intensify. Now, of course, including an unprovoked war declared by an ever more unpredictable and disturbed president whose approval ratings are dismal these days even for him. It's safe to say that just about every city of even modest size in every U.S. state is hosting at least one No Kings event tomorrow. But the organizers go out of their way to emphasize that about 2/3 of their planned events will occur outside major urban centers. There's been significant growth and interest in the No Kings concept in traditionally Republican and battleground states from coast to coast. Zooming in on Texas on this map, every town, I'd say over about 50,000 population, has at least one event, and there are dozens clustered around each of the primary urban centers. But here are the main larger city locations: Dallas at City Hall, San Antonio at Travis Park, Fort Worth at General Worth Square, Houston at City Hall, and Austin at Auditorium Shores, where Progress Texas will have a table set up. Do stop by and say hi. As we always do ahead of one of these big events, we remind you to keep your own safety in mind, but also that of your neighbors. Head on a swivel, plenty of water, though the weather actually looks quite nice. A nicely timed cold front will put DFW's high around 65, Austin's around 70, Houston's around 75, and San Antonio's around 71. Expect a boatload of super cool folks of like mind, but the fact is these events also tend to draw folks who are looking to make it about themselves and cause trouble. Just because someone has a bullhorn does not mean they're in charge. And always be mindful about keeping things clean and legal. Never follow anyone into any behavior that might even remotely break the law. We recommend the buddy system. These events are safer and frankly more fun done with at least one friend. Be mindful of the exits. Have a plan and position yourself properly should the time come to get out of there. Also be mindful of things happening on the periphery of the event. Know your rights when it comes to interacting with police officers. You do have the right to record what they're doing as long as you aren't physically interfering with them. And you also have the right to remain silent if you end up detained for any reason. In that case, remember the timeless advice to shut the fuck up until you have a lawyer with whom to consult. It's worth noting as we move into another No Kings weekend that there's been a court case decided in Texas recently allowing left-wing activists to be classified as Antifa and thus to be charged as terrorists. With the election in November still 221 days away, there's a lot of work to do, and there's no reason to get yourself sidelined now. Everybody have fun, be loud and proud, and take good care of each other. A gathering of a decidedly different stripe may be coming to the home of the Dallas Cowboys, it would appear. The Dallas Morning News says the National Republican Party appears to be working on plans for a rare midterm convention this fall after representatives took a tour through Jerry Jones's American Airlines Center recently. RNC officials have confirmed that Donald Trump wants to throw a big party ahead of the midterm election at Jerry World, but they also note that nothing's been finalized on it. All indicators point to the weekend of September 11th, which would happen to coincide with the 25th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 terrorist event. And the word is that organizers have already begun arranging local hotels and hitting up Dallas area donor types. Despite all of that, the Dallas Police Department and local GOP operatives are saying they've not yet been formally briefed on any of these plans. But if we hold up the current war in Iran as an example, it's not unusual for Donald Trump to fire before he aims. We're curious at this point what Kendall Scudder and the Texas Democratic Party might be mulling as a potential response. The iconic shape of Texas, which of course is used on everything from neon bar signs to tortilla chips to swimming pools to belt buckles, not to mention that tattoo of yours that's stretched into an entirely different shape over the years, perhaps, is itself potentially about to change. Kayla Guo at the Texas Tribune writes on the 2027 legislative priorities that have been laid out by Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows, and one of them is a study on potentially annexing Lee County, which is a big chunk of land, including Lovington and Hobbs in southeastern New Mexico. Adding that to Texas would significantly screw up that neat 90-degree corner, but it would also solidify our state's dominance in the petroleum sector, for you see, Lee County is the top oil-producing county in the entire country, accounting for 30 million barrels of oil per month and nearly half of the state of New Mexico's total oil output. The rest of Dustin Burrows' agenda is largely in lockstep with that of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, whom Burrows tends to follow around like a puppy, and definitely leans into the Islamophobia that's come to dominate the current Republican mindset. Burrows wants the House Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee to go over existing Texas law to, quote, ensure that Sharia law or any other foreign law contrary to the U.S. and Texas constitutions has not permeated into other judicial and legal matters in Texas, unquote. And wants a crackdown on, quote, foreign adversary and terrorist-linked influence operations affecting Texas, including political activity, advocacy, and funding networks directed by foreign governments or organizations, unquote. Speaker Burrows might start with Russia. Here at Progress Texas, we're getting ready for our 16th anniversary celebration in Dallas with drinks, light bites, and a fun review of the highlights of our successes over the last few years. Save the date, which is Tuesday, June 16th, and see the link in the show notes to reserve your spot. Our web store is live and ready for you to grab some newly released Humans Against Abbott, Y'all Means All, and Revolution shirts, stickers, and buttons. Hit the web store at progresstexas.org to support your favorite podcast network today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Friday, March 27, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Our mission at Progress Texas is to improve and save Texans' lives by acting on our shared bold progressive values, and that starts with countering the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine. Progress Texas is an independent, nonprofit, rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media in action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific weekend. Be safe if you're hitting the rallies, and we'll see you again on Monday.